I just wanted to go for a drive. It was a Tuesday night, and I had just had a fight with my wife over something stupid. I don't even remember what it was for. I had gotten super mad and stormed out in tears. I just wanted to go for a drive for a couple of hours, or find a motel, until we both cool off. I drove down Route 60, a small in-state, basically in the middle of nowhere. It was probably about 11:30 p.m., and it was pitch black except for the headlights illuminating a small part in front of me. I drove for about 30 more minutes when I saw a strange-looking sign. It was for a place. It was called the Dream Mill. Under it had something that really caught my eye. It said, "Eat a dream pastry and stay a long time, longer even." I read this and thought to myself, that's strange, but then I realized how hungry I really was. Like, there was a huge hole in my stomach. I realized how strange this was. I had never seen this before. I thought to myself that I don't travel this route very much, and I probably have not noticed it. I was also very hungry. That was my first mistake. I decided I would park my car near the sign on the side of the road, and I walked down. There was a light coming from the windows and a couple of the street lamps. I used the flashlight to illuminate my way down the old gravel path. Before I got to the door, I checked my phone. The time was 12:15, and there was no text from my wife. I decided that if I could get a room, that I would stay here. I walked to the front of the door and decided to knock, considering the lights were on. I knocked 3 times, and about 10 seconds later, I heard someone say, "Come in." A young woman answered the door. I was sort of taken back by her beauty, but I snapped out of it. She asked me what I was doing here, and I said that I was lost. Dumb excuse. She invited me in, and I thought this was a little bit strange. But I did not think anything of it because I felt now tired and hungry. I heard her call her daughter down from a different floor as I walked into the main room. This was a nice and well-lit area, and there was a large table, a kitchen, and a living room. The girl told me to sit down and she will get me something to eat. How did she know I was hungry? She went to a pantry and retrieved a small pastry. It was red and had this golden icing on top. I looked where she was, and I swear to you that I saw a bone. I swear I did. I snapped out of it, and that's when I realized I heard a screaming, very low. I asked what the noise was. She said that she did not hear anything and placed the pantry in front of me. "Eat up," the young girl said. "What is this?" I asked. She said that it was called a dream pastry. Looking at this treat, I felt the hunger I had before. I inhaled it in 2 seconds, and the girl looked at me like I was crazy. "Whoa," she said. "I never had someone eat that so fast," and she took the plate. I began to feel very queasy and lightheaded, and I almost faint. The girl senses this and asked, "What's the matter?" I say I am feeling very strange, and I think I almost faint again. I guess she sees this and asks me, "Are you feeling okay?" in a concerned voice. I kept slipping in and out of consciousness, and I swear I saw the girl smiling. I'm pretty sure she dragged me to a bedroom and laid me down. The last thing I remember was the girl saying everything would be okay, and then I fell unconscious. I woke up after I don't know how many hours, or what felt like hours. I did not have anything on me. No phone, no wallet, and no keys. The place also looked more dilapidated than it was when I came in. I guess I must have imagined that this place was beautiful. I don't hear the screaming anymore, but I heard something else talking right behind me. I turn around to see three men who are not paying attention to me at all. One man was very large and muscular and had a bunch of scars on him. I remember him being very ugly. The other man was a bit shorter, but he was still a muscular and stout man, but not as muscular as the big man. This man also had large armor on and had a big sword and shield. The last man was scrawny, rough-looking, who looked as if I could punch him and he would die. He had a dagger and a small package with him. He also had a strange aura to him, one that was very depressing and sad, like he wanted happiness but could not get it. They were talking about something as I walked up to them. They still paid no mind to me. Could they see me? I thought to myself. I tried to talk to them, but they carry on like normal. Then I tried to pat the big man on the shoulder, and something strange happened. He acted surprised and somewhat frightened. He looked in all directions before the short man said, "Is it the ghost?" in a stern but calming and leading voice. The big man, in an Australian-like accent, said, "No, I don't see it anywhere." Before the small man went pale and said, "It's probably just your imagination," in a low, worrisome voice, like he had something to hide. They both agreed with the small man. I noticed that they seemed to be wearing medieval-style clothing with swords and shields. Maybe this was a dream, I thought to myself, and then something caught my ears. "Let's go upstairs," the big man said, and the small man and the short man agreed. They also talked about things like little kids, strange conversations, and other weird things from the big man. One thing that was really disturbing is how the big man said that the other two men were knocked out by the so-called dream pastries. It hit me like a truck. I ate one and now I'm stuck in this hell because of the dream pastries, or something along the lines. I have got to get out of here. But how? The three men had exited to the stairs, and I decided that whatever was up there, it could not hurt me because I'm invisible or something. I decided going with them was the best bet for getting out of here. What a mistake. What I saw upstairs and what happened with the battle that ensued was more than I could handle. I should have stayed back. I slowly followed the men upstairs and think they were trying to be discreet, but every floorboard creaked under their footsteps. When they reached the top, they figured out that they were caught and that they were not supposed to see what was up there. I peeked over and saw the most gruesome sight ever. There were two horribly disfigured women in the clothes that were made out of flesh and blood grinding away at this large crusher. There was also blood all around them and piles of bone everywhere. When they saw the three men, they shouted the gut-wrenching scream in which I almost could not handle it anymore. I saw the woman who gave me the treat come rushing up the stairs as her skin begins to twitch and contorted into this vile husk of a woman. I now realize that I smell rotten flesh. I'm pretty sure they use children's souls or bones to make freaking desserts, and that's why there was the screaming. Oh crap, I thought to myself. She makes direct eye contact with me and smiles. She whispers in a harsh, slow, crackling voice, "Let's give you a show," as she screams at the three men. I see the short man draw his sword and charge the two above. I see a lightning bolt fry the small man right in the chest, but he gets up with the short man's help. I see the big man begin to twist into the large red hulkish mass with his veins throbbing and in a nearly unrecognizable appearance as he charges the lady. Before the big man can get to her, though, she strikes him with a black burst of dark matter as he falls back, and he gets back up. The big man tackles the lady to the ground as she slams against the floor laughing and giggling. The big man then proceeds to slam his fist into her face 20 times as the lady tries to fight back with her magic or whatever. The lady's face is now a pulp as it just melts off, and a laugh can still be heard. The small man comes out of hiding and proceeds to go up the stairs. With the big man, I as well go upstairs, but as I make it to the top, the short man slams into the wall by another lightning bolt to the chest. The short man slumps over as the small man runs over to help. I then see the big man tackle one to the ground and beat her to a pulp as a bunch of needles slam into the side of his chest, but with one final punch, he kills one of them as the last one shoots 3 more needles into him and he falls over. The last one then focuses her attention to me. She yells my name and charges forward, and I'm thinking that the small man is behind me, but he is not. I yelled and dive behind the barrel as she yells and her body melts away and it falls on the floor. I looked as the small man was coming out of hiding. He looked me dead in the eyes and says, "I guess I gotta go," in a low voice, and he literally phases through the wall, leaving the 2 men dead. Now, all alone and scared out of my life, I had to think of something to do. I slumped down on a barrel and began to silently cry. Suddenly, I heard a loud booming voice say, "Wake up," as a large white crack began to form in the walls. "Wake up." More cracks. "Wake up." More and more cracks. Then the final booming, low metallic music-like voice saying, "Wake up." And then there was a large boom as the white... It was like the heavens themselves opened up. Then everything went black. I wake up to a loud ringing in my ears. I see a man who I later knew was the sheriff of the area. He was shaking me awake, and as I came to, he said to me, "He is awake, get a stretcher." I'm completely dazed and I ask where I am. I also know that there was a SWAT team. I also know that there was a SWAT team there as well. The sheriff says to me, "Don't worry, you will be fine." And I fell unconscious once again. I finally wake up in a bed, but it's not the hospital. It looks more like a small cabin. There was the window and I looked out to see there was a view of the town. I knew where I was, but I did not know what cabin it was. Welcome to small town living. You know where most things are. A man says, "You're awake," and it startles me. The man was the sheriff. He told me that I was asleep for 2 days and that I was missing for 2 days. 2 days, son, he said. What did you see? I described everything to him. The sheriff said that he knew what happened. I was drugged into a dream. I guess, but who did I meet in the windmill? I asked. The sheriff told me that everything that you saw must have been your imagination. because the windmill had been abandoned. The sheriff showed me a picture that was taken before I went missing. He also said that they found 5 skeletons and that they found broken stairs and holes in the wall. What's happened to me? The sheriff then told me that I was going to see some strange things around here, and I suggest you leave the town. He told me that the windmill was going to be demolished because of the liberty and other legal stuff. I did not know what to do. I decided that I would leave. I told my wife that I was sorry, and I packed some personal belongings and clothes, and I got in my car and left. But I suddenly got the strange idea in my head to go back to the windmill, like a low voice telling me to go back one more time. I went down Route 60 to the area where the windmill was, but there was no gravel road or windmill. There was just a man standing where the sign would be. I recognized it to be the small man. He was pale and had black eyes, and I could see by the headlights that he was smiling, or better yet, smirking. I blinked and he was gone in a second. I pressed on the gas pedal and I never looked back. That was 2 years ago. I now live in a big city alone with my dog. I have gotten some therapy and been drinking, but just a little. It's not that bad. I did some research and it turns out that this place was supposedly cursed by a demon. A fog had rolled over the area, trapping the land in fog, due to a curse the demon put on the land. No one could leave, but you could enter. But one day a traveler killed the demon and freed the land. But the traveler hungered for power and took the land over murdering people for sport. No one could do anything because he was too powerful. He ruled until he supposedly died, but some other legends say that he was immortal after he died. The fog supposedly went away. I don't know what to believe at this point, but I know what I saw. Believe it or not, but I do not know who the small man was. But there was one man who was mentioned in the legend. His name was Sorge. He was described as skinny and oddly talkative. He looked dead on the outside, but he could talk to anybody. Strange. I was told that he had 2 other men with him, but they disappeared. No one ever heard from them.